Hey guys, this is Paul with My Reseller Genie, and today I'm going to be teaching you about the My Reseller Genie integrations. So first things first, I want to talk about who has access to what. So everybody has access to the integrations for the purpose of importing past data. If you're on Basic and Premium, you can do this once. So that means when you're getting set up, you can connect your account, pull data in, and save time on setup that way. But then moving forward, you'll need to either upload or manually record new sales inventory and expenses. Although for expenses, Premium does have access to the bank integrations, which will pull in new charges automatically for you. People on Ultimate have access to our sales platform integrations, which means that all of your new sales, fees, refunds, inventory, those can all be synced to your account. So there's two ways that you can sync. One is the manual sync and one is the auto sync. I'll show you how to do a manual sync. The auto sync, you don't really need to think about. It's just going to happen once a day. So it won't be as soon as a new sale is made. If you want to get that sale pulled in immediately, you'll have to do a manual sync. And assuming the platform has made the data available, then it will pull in. Okay, so let me share my screen with you so that we can dig into this. All right, so before I get into the nitty-gritty details, I just want to say everything I'm covering in this video is already covered in our walkthroughs. So as you're using My Reseller Genie, as you're clicking on things, it's going to tell you how this works. Okay, so this video is meant for people who like more of a video type learning method instead of like reading prompts on a screen. But if you're perfectly comfortable reading those instructions and following them, then you can just ignore this video and just use My Reseller Genie. But if you want the video, keep watching. First things first, your connections to the platforms. This should already be done in the setup process. I'm not going to go through importing past data because this video is about the recurring syncing of information after you've already been set up. So let's just say you need to connect an account after the fact. Maybe you started selling on a new platform, or for one reason or another, you just decided not to connect one of your accounts when you were doing setup. So how do you do that? Well, you go to the integrations tab, and then whatever the platform is, you'll click on this little checkbox here, daily integration, sales, and fees. And I'm going to show you Poshmark because there's an extra step involved in this. No matter what you're clicking on, there's going to be prompts on the screen. Just follow those prompts and you'll be able to connect. But I just want to show you Poshmark just because it's a little bit more involved. Okay, so add extension. Some of our integrations require an extension, the My Reseller Genie web extension. And if you don't have this installed, it's going to give you this little form. So it's real easy. You just need to click Get Extension, and it's going to take you right to where the web extension is. You click Add to Chrome, Add Extension, and boom, it's installed. That easy. So I'm going to close this tab. Now, in our instructions here, it says close your browser and log back into My Reseller Genie. So that'll absolutely work. You can also just refresh your browser, and typically that'll be sufficient. But if you're having any issues with the web extension not being recognized, close your entire browser, open it up again, and go back into My Reseller Genie. Okay, so now that I have my extension, I'm going to click this checkbox again. It's going to search and see, are you connected to a Poshmark account? If you are, it says, hey, here's the account we're connecting you to. And if that's right, you click Add. And if you're not logged into an account, it will pop up a login screen and you can log into your account from there. Okay, you can see there's like this little message that's talking about our Poshmark account syncing. We'll come back to that later. All right, now when you connect one of your accounts, if you're set to the accrual inventory method, it'll automatically sync your inventory, but you only want to sync inventory from one integration unless you're listing completely different things on two different platforms. I'm going to pretend that most of my listings start on eBay and then I cross post to Poshmark from eBay. So I'm going to uncheck the daily integration inventory so that I don't have like duplicate inventory coming in from Poshmark. I'm going to go through the 4 different types of notifications that you can get. But before I start talking through each individual one, I just want to point out one of them is click here to review pending inventory. If you selected the cache inventory method, your inventory features in My Reseller Genie are going to be hidden, and you're not going to have a daily inventory sync occur. So if you did that on accident and you do want to actually track inventory, you can click this gear icon here and change your inventory accounting method. So if you had it set to cash inventory method, you see like I don't have an inventory tab, and I don't have the column for daily sync inventory. If you want to change it, just click the gear icon and then switch it over to accrual inventory method. And that's going to apply also if you use the cash inventory method for your accounting, but you want to track inventory in Genie for a non-accounting reason. In that case, you would set your account to accrual inventory method, but then just use it like you're using the cash inventory method. If that was all Greek to you, don't worry about it, and read our article talking about the differences between the two. Now, I'm doing this from the perspective of somebody using the accrual inventory method because you have the extra inventory syncing going on. If you're using the cash method, the cash inventory method, just ignore the inventory part, okay? All right, so first off, click here to review pending inventory. I'm going to start with this because if you're tracking inventory, this is the first notification that you want to address, okay? So when I click on this, the first screen that I'm going to see is duplicate inventory checker title matches. So what that means is Genie's going to look at the new listings that have been pulled, and it's going to look at your existing inventory and say, okay, do any of these things have the same title? If so, it's going to show up on this screen because it's likely, very likely, that this is not a new inventory item. This is just a relisted item. So if you do like in eBay, if you do end and sell similar, that's what's going to happen unless you change the title. Okay, so we can see, let me move my face up here a little bit. We can see the title of the item that's brought in. We can see what the number of these items in our current inventory is, and then what the number of new items is. So like from our sync, our new listing, what's that quantity? And most of the time, what you're going to do is select it and say remove from import. Now, there's rare cases where you actually have exactly the same item and you're adding it to your inventory. In those cases, you want to click add to import. Okay. Now I'm going to do remove from import and move forward. So then it's going to take us to the next screen, which is duplicate inventory checker SKU matches. So this is doing the same thing, but what it's doing is it's looking at the SKU instead of the item title. So if you have identical SKUs, then the items will show up here. Now, everybody uses SKUs a little bit differently. So if you're using it to be like a unique identifier for your items, then this is going to be really helpful because you can see, okay, I have a duplicate item here, a duplicate listing that's being brought in. And in that case, if it's a duplicate, you click the check mark and say remove from import. Now, other people might be using SKUs more generally. If this is you, then don't remove it from the import based on having a SKU match, because obviously this very well could be a new item. So like in this case, we're looking at these two item titles. So this is the item title in our inventory. This is the new item title. It's like these things are totally different. So I'm going to say add to import because that is actually a new inventory item. All right, so then you're going to be brought to this screen, the inventory import screen. You might look at this and think, okay, this is a ton of information to add. And you're right. Let's come back to that in a second. First, I want to address how you add inventory to My Reseller Genie. So the inventory is being held in like a pending status. This inventory is not actually pushed into your inventory. What Genie does is it pulls your new listings, it holds them in pending for you to review. And then once you review it and say, yes, this is new inventory, then it adds it to your inventory. Okay. So during this review step, that's the step we're in right now, you can attach purchase price, purchase date. If you want to do brand, location, vendor, you can also do that. And let me show you a quick trick that might be helpful for some folks. you can use this copy button here, and it will copy down the information with the line above it. So if you have a lot of items that maybe you purchased for the same price on the same day and in the same location, you can save some time with your data entry by doing that. Now, once you've completed adding all of your information to these items, you make sure I want to add everything to inventory, click add. Once you click add, then the inventory is going to get added to your inventory. If you don't click add, it never gets added, and the information you put in on this screen does not get saved. Okay, so that's a very important detail. But what if you say, hey, Paul, I don't have time to look through all these different items and add all this information. How am I supposed to handle this? Great question. So I'm going to cross out of this and we'll go back into it. Okay, so whatever the first screen is that pops up when you click on the review pending inventory notification, you're going to see this review all toggle up here. If you haven't reviewed your inventory for a while, what I want you to do is turn it off. What that's going to do is it's going to look back to your earliest import of pending inventory, and it's going to show you just that day's worth of information. Okay. So it's a much smaller piece of information to work with. And so it's much more manageable. You see, instead of having a massive list we have to scroll through, it's just like 7 items. So you can add the information to those items, click add, and then, let me show you. Once you click add, it says, okay, your import of 7 items ready to submit. We submit, and then it's going to automatically go on to the next day. Okay. So if you're like, okay, I need to stop bookkeeping for the day, that's fine. You can just cross it out. And then when you come back later, it'll be just the pending items after that day that you already imported. Okay, so that was inventory. Now let's move on to sales. All right, so click to review new sales. Now I'm going to talk first to the cash inventory method people. With your sales, you don't need to match it to inventory because you've already written off the inventory and you're not tracking inventory. So it's a lot more simple for you guys. Now you can, just for sake of keeping an eye on your business, you can review through the different sales that pulled through, look at the sale prices, be like, oh, cool, that looks great. But really all you need to do is click this checkbox up here and then click mark reviewed. And that's going to clear your notification. All those sales are going to be marked as reviewed, so you don't have any notification that says, hey, there's new sales to be reviewed. On the other hand, if you use the accrual inventory method, meaning you track inventory, then you're going to need to connect the sale to the inventory item. So Genie's going to help you with this, but there also is going to be a check required from you to make sure that we don't mess up your inventory tracking with too much automation. Okay. So what you can do, if you're really ambitious, or maybe you don't have that many sales, you can click here and then click match to inventory. But maybe it's been a while, like in this case, since you've matched your sales to inventory. So you might only want to do like 5. So you select the sales that you want to match to inventory, and then you click match to inventory, and it's going to take you through take you into our auto matching screen. Okay. So there's 2 ways that Genie helps you with matching your sales to inventory. The first way is item title. If there's a matching item title between one of your new sales and an item that you have in inventory, it'll show up here. So we've got this sweatshirt here. It'll show us if there's a SKU for inventory and sale. It'll show us that. It'll show us what the quantity of the inventory is, total value of the inventory, and then purchase price. So in this case, there's no purchase price associated with the inventory. If you did have a purchase price, it would show up here. Okay. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to say match sales to inventory. So that says, yes, that match looks good to me. The next thing you can do is click over to SKU, and it looks like none of the matches or none of the sales have a SKU match in inventory, but it would look the exact same as the item title screen. Only difference is what's matched up is the SKU as opposed to the item title. Okay, now let's roll over to manual sales matching. That's what you're going to need to do if you don't have auto matches by either item title or SKU. So what this is going to do is it's going to show you some key information for the sale, and then it'll give you a place where you can search for inventory. So maybe there's maybe your item doesn't have a SKU, maybe you change the item title just a little bit. And in this case, you can search your inventory for like keywords. So I'll say Jaguar. All right, nothing's coming up for Jaguar. Say brake pads. Okay, so it looks like I just don't have this item in inventory. So if that's the case, what you'll do is click Add Inventory Details. It's going to pull the details from the sale and give you the option to put in like, oh, here's the purchase price, here's the purchase date. So I'll say this cost me $234. And once you've added all the information that you want, click Match, and that sale will be tied to that new information. All right, now we've got a new sale. I don't actually have it in inventory, but I just want to show you hypothetically, let's say this is the inventory item that we're looking for. You just click on it, and then it's going to show you the information for that inventory item below. So you can kind of compare what information you have with the sale compared to this inventory item, make sure, yeah, that's the match that I want to do. And then approve the match by clicking match. And then, okay, it says we have 5 sales ready to be matched to inventory. Click the submit button to complete the matches. So it's really important to do this. Otherwise, these matches are not complete. Okay, so I click submit, and then those sales are all reviewed. So great, we've gone through pending inventory, we've gone through new sales. Now let's click here to review new expenses. New expenses, these are either going to be expenses that get pulled in from your integrations or expenses that get pulled in, I should say from your selling platform integrations or from your bank/credit card integrations. What you can do during this step is you can modify general ledger account, vendor description. In the case of fees pulled from selling platforms, Genie will automatically categorize these for you. So really, this is more of just an opportunity to see what fees you're getting charged. Sometimes there's surprising things that show up, so it's helpful to have the opportunity to review things all in one place right here. Once you're good with everything, you can select them and then click Mark Reviewed. There's also options here where you can select all in case you don't want to manually select each one of them. All right, so that's how you can review your expenses. And I'm just going to go ahead and mark these as reviewed. And we can actually see our notification for reviewing new expenses is gone now. Okay, our last notification is click here to review new returns, refunds, cancellations. So Genie bundles these all together because effectively for reporting purposes, they're all the same. And it helps when you're trying to reconcile Genie to like a sales platform to just have all these bundled together. Okay, so information for refunded sale. So if there's a sale that has a refund associated with it, whether it's partial or complete, it gets pulled by Genie and you'll see it here. Okay, so it asks us 2 questions after giving us all this information. It asks us, have you updated the sale this refund is for completely? It's important to finish this step before finalizing the refund. If you're using the accrual inventory method, this really matters for you. If you're using the cash inventory method, you can just say yes and then no. Okay, so because you're not tracking inventory, these questions don't matter for you. Just yes, no, and then click confirm. But if you're using the accrual inventory method, you do need to update the sale. Really what that means is match it to the inventory item that's sold. Okay. So if you haven't done your sales matching yet, or you're not sure, you can click go to sale and see like, okay, is there a purchase price? No. If there's no purchase price, then maybe I didn't match it to the inventory item. Then you go back out, look at review sales, and go through the process that we already discussed. All right, but coming back to here, once your sale is complete, all the information has been attached to the sale, basically meaning you match the sale to the inventory item. You click yes, and then did you receive this item back? So only click yes if you got the item back and it's in sellable condition. If you refunded somebody their money, but then sale got lost in the mail, you didn't receive the item back. Maybe you got the item back, but it was unsellable. Somebody like spilled Coke all over a computer. Um, that's a no. Basically, this has to do with, is the item going to get added back to your inventory? So if the item is not sellable, it's not part of your inventory anymore. It's written off. So I'm going to click no and then confirm, and it moves on to the next refund. So I'm going to just move through all these, confirm, confirm, confirm. Great. Congratulations, you finished reviewing all the refunds. That is how the daily integration syncs work. If you have questions for us, we're always available, support at myresellergenie.com. We also have written help articles if you prefer reading things more than watching videos. Something else to keep in mind is with the daily syncs, some of them are going to happen in the background and some of them are going to happen when you log into Genie or are using Genie. So anything that requires the extension, that's going to sync every 24 hours whenever you're logged in to My Reseller Genie, and you'll see something that looks like this. So when I click the refresh icon, you see up here, it just says, hey, your account's syncing. Please don't close your browser until this process completes. If you close the browser, it's not going to break anything, but it also is not going to sync. So basically just wait until the notification is gone in order for that sync to complete. For integrations that don't require the extension, these will just be run in the background and you won't ever get that notification. Like eBay is an example of this. Hope this video helps, and we'll see you in the next one.